the sixth and final commentary recorded in the Gutni Chumash on the issue of Avraham and his request of his wife Sarah to identify herself not as his wife but rather as his sister, comes to us from the Sefer HaZohar, keeping in mind that the Zohar functions within its own set of rules with respect to interpretation of the Torah text. At the conclusion of the Zohar's commentary to Parashat Tazria, we have an incident in which Rabbi Elazar was traveling from city to city with Rabbi Abba, and Rabbi Abba requests of Rabbi Elazar to present him with some Dvar Torah, Nema Milin Doraita Uvenezil. Rabbi Elazar accommodates the wish of Rabbi Abba and builds his Dvar Torah around a Zoharic type concept that man's wealth comes to him in the merit of his wife. Mamona be'itete zechile barnash. Rabbi Elazar bases this faith statement upon two pasukim, the first from Mishlei 19:14, a house and wealth are the heritage of the fathers, a nachalat avot, but an isha misachelet from the word sechel, an intelligent wife, is a gift from God. However, one understands the proverb of Shlomo HaMelech. And so much for biases against women that permeated the thinking of Chazal. Added to the first pasuk comes a second pasuk from Mishlei 31. This is the famous Eshet Chayil, that Batach Ba'alev Baila, her husband relies on her, and as a result, Lo Yechasar, he will not lack Vishalal, any gain, profit, wealth during his lifetime. In actuality, Rabbi Elazar uses this concept that man's wealth comes to him through his wife in response to a textual difficulty in which he asks the rhetorical question as to how an individual such as Avraham, who feared sin, beloved by God, could request of her to Imrina achoti at, present yourself as my sister, begin de yitvon lei, in order that he should personally gain from this trickery. Assuming his departure from Canaan to Egypt was acceptable in the eyes of God, if there was a danger, why could he not trust in his own zechuyot, his own relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that God would watch over him and save him from any harm? Rabbi Elazar goes on to suggest that Avraham did not wish to rely on his own zechuyot, relying instead upon the zechuyot of his wife, on the basis that man's wealth comes to him in the merit of his wife. The Rebbe in the Sikha understands the Zohar as providing us with two reasons and proceeds to fine-tune why two explanations are needed. The section of Zohar concludes by providing us with the two pasukim that support the thesis that man's wealth comes to him in the ZECHOOT, the merit of his wife. In this way, the Zohar justifies the actions of Avraham when he asks his wife to Imrina chotiat. What is missing is the context in which Avraham has made this request of Sarah, and that context harkens back to the beginning of Parashat Lech Lecha, in which Avraham is commanded by God to leave the land of his birth and go to El Haaretz Asher Areka, eventually Eretz Canaan. HaKadosh Baruch Hu then provides Avraham with three brachot, Ve'ezcha legoy gadol, Va'varecheka, Va'gad l'shemecha. And Rashi reads into the middle bracha, Va'varecheka, b'mamon, with personal wealth. The Zohar links God's blessing to Avraham for personal wealth to the concept that man's wealth comes to him in the merit of his wife, as per the Zohar's understanding of the two pasukim from Sefer Mishlei. Accordingly, we can address the core question of Imrina achotiat, in that on the one hand Avraham was promised wealth, on the other this wealth was to come to him through his wife, and therefore he requested of her Imrina achotiat, because according to the Zohar, the channel through which this increased wealth will come was to be through Sarah, and the method was that the Egyptians will ingratiate themselves to Sarah's brother, they would yitav li, At the same time, v'chayta nafshi, I would not be at risk if I were to be identified as the husband of Sarah. One final point, the additional words ba'avorech and biglalech normally translates as on account of you or through you. According to the Zohar, the understanding would be that will be good for me, for my benefit, and this would come about ba'avorech in your zechut.